Huh. How did you get into rugby league when you started off?
Basically with my kids. So my younger kids at 8-year-old and 9-year-old started playing for Oven in Illingworth, and basically just taking them to rugby, the training sessions at night and the games at the weekend when I was available, when I was not away with the army. Yeah, basically that were it.
And how did you start playing? When did you start
I
playing?
started playing. I played off and on when I was a kid, but I didn't quite enjoy it as much. I was more of a football, lad at the early ages. So it wasn't till I was about 2021 when I were in the army, when we were on the Rangers one weekend and a ball came out. I did follow Halifax a lot, Halifax Rugby League. I used to go with my mum all the time and my dad to watch all the matches. So basically, rugby league has always been in my blood and in my system. But playing it, 21-year-old, I would say, and that's when, like I say, when we were on the Rangers up in North Yorkshire. A ball came out, rugby ball came out, and we started playing around with it. And then from there on, I just caught the bug.
So this was in the army where you were not allowed to play rugby league.
This is it, yeah. So they were a bit of a taboo in the British Army at the time, in the early 80s, all rugby union. So it took a while for us to actually get the company commanders and the battalion commanders to agree to let us play these games, because most of the lads within the battalions did have rugby league blood in the system. They had played rugby league when they were kids. So I think the company commanders and the battalion commanders thought that we can't deny them what they what they like. So they let it go, and it just from there on it just took off.
And you ended up with Halifax Terriers somehow.
Yeah, well, the original name when we first started, and we got the okay from the company commander, which in Halifax, which was C Company DWR Battalion 1 Yorks. We got his blessing to set up a team within the company, and the PSIO, who looks after all the money within the company, they forked out for a kit for us, and then the company commander persuaded the battalion commander to let us play, and so we played other companies within the organisation, within the regiment, and it just snowballed. The name Halifax Terrier, because we used to be called Territorial Army, C Company Territorial Army, for several years before we decided that we need to change that name to Halifax, with us being Halifax-based military. We changed the name from Halifax, but kept that Terriers bit as the part-time soldiers side of it. And that's where the Halifax name came from, the
Where were you
Terriers.
based?
So we were based in the Drull for a good 15 years, 10 to 15 years. We were based in the Drull, and we played as games up at the infirmary pitch, which was below the old Halifax Infirmary, which also belonged to the Heath Grammar School complex. And that's where we played all those games. We got changed in the Drull, we walked up, or we took us cars up to the ground, which was only half a mile up the road. Played his games, and then went back to the Drull, where we had the Duke Wellington bar, which was the Wellington bar, what they called it within the Drull, and had loads of beers and food in there, all at the expense of the military.
But you left there.
Well, we left there basically because of the IRA bomb explosion at the recruitment office around the corner at the back of the Drull. There were a small detonation in there, and so the bomb disposal team went in, obviously, and sorted out the police, and the complete complex of the Halifax Drull were on lockdown for several weeks, and there was no ins and outs, if you know what I mean, of any other than military to be used for. So we had to move out of there, and as first port of call were the Three Pigeons at the bottom of the road. I knew the landlord in there, and he said, "Yeah, come down here," and that's basically where we started as life as a military rugby team in the civilian aspect, umbrella. We got a bit of money together, and he also built some showers down in the cellar. We built a couple of changing rooms down there with showers, and we still played at the infirmary ground.
And when did you move to Boothtown?
So I got a word from the education board at the Heath Grammar School saying that there's another team that wants to use the rugby ground we were playing on, the infirmary ground, and it was a football team. They didn't last long. I think they were on about a year, but they somehow got preference. And at this time, we'd moved from the Three Pigeons and gone to Standard of Freedom, but we were still playing at the infirmary. And so for about half a season, we mixed and matched the field with football and rugby. But it were getting way too high. We had to take the posts down all the time, and the posts were like a ton of metal. Every time I had to take them down and put them back up again, and the footballers were getting a bit skew whiffy about it all, and it come to loggerheads, and then it came to the point where the Heath Grammar School and Education Board trying to say, right, we're not having anybody on that pitch. But it just about happened when the infirmary had been sold and set off, sold off to private housing, which obviously took up the rugby ground as well. So this that were halfway through a season, and we had to go and play up at Royal Z because that was the only available football pitch. We did play a couple of games up on the Savile Park Moor, but most of the time up at Royal Z. It was more cheaper. I don't know why. Probably because it's so cold up there. No one wants to play up there, so the pitches were always available. When we moved from the Halifax Terriers to Boothtown, it was in the transition of us moving up to Boothtown. We were still playing at Royal Z, but we moved up to Boothtown, up to the Claremont Liberal Club, and we had a couple of seasons up there. And we even started the under-15s up there. The under-15s team came from, and I just cannot remember where it came from, but it came from a whole package, the full team, with coaches and backroom staff, and they all came along. And for my life in me, I can't remember exactly where they came from, but they came into Boothtown, and they came under the umbrella of the Boothtown Terriers under-15s. So we were playing along with the under-15s, and both teams, Open Age and the under-15s, played up at the Royal Z. The second season into playing up at Royal Z, we had a counsellor at the ward's end, and I just can't remember his name, but he came on board. He used to drink a lot, he was from Boothtown area, and he used to drink in the Liberal Club, and he had a chat with us and saying that do you know that there's a pitch or some spare land down at the Ellen Royds, which used to belong to the old Sunnyside School, and we left him just to see what he could do within the ward and within his powers as a counsellor within the education.
And you ended up with a pitch.
So yep, we ended up with a pitch. He came back to us, did the counsellor, and he said, I managed to get the pitch off. It's the old Sunnyside pitch. It belongs to the education board, which at the time was all pitches in Calderdale had a school attached that were run by the education board. And he just said, they're going to loan it to you and let you use it, and it'll cost you X amount of pounds per year as rental. So that were it. I do remember at that stage, and we did find out we've got the pitch here, we went back to the infirmary ground to pick up us posts, and there were half a dozen of us, but these posts were damn heavy, and it was solid steel posts, 40 foot long, 4 of them plus the crossbars. And I remember them quite clearly walking through Halifax town centre with these 12 guys with these posts on his backs, just trudging up towards the Liberal Club. And we kept the posts up there back at Liberal Club until we found out that we actually got the ground secured. We didn't want to put them on the ground with it, with it being metal, they might have just got nicked. So we kept them at the back of the Liberal Club for this. Actually, well, it were good for us because it were in close season anyway. So it were all the time at the time of that in close season when we were rebuilding the team and obviously looking for places to go and that one. And yeah, we inherited a pitch, or we got a pitch.
And then you moved around the area, different pubs as your base.
So yeah,
you eventually ended up with a base on your own club.
Yes, so we several pubs in Boothtown, and when they were open, we'd use them all as we moved up to the new inn in Boothtown, a couple of seasons up there, across to Foggies, which were across the road, and then back to the new inn, and then back to Foggies, which had changed hands to, can't remember the name, and then we moved down to the Coach and Horses, which were run by my brother and my sister-in-law. We've been there for a couple of seasons, and then back up to the new inn, and then back down to the friendly, the Flying Dutchman. And then when the Flying Dutchman changed, and then this were all over a few seasons, but the reason being is that the pubs were closing down and changing hands, and it always happened when middle of a season. So we just had to quickly, within a week, find somewhere else. So I think the pubs in Boothtown really accommodate us very well, and we've had some fantastic memories of us staying in all the clubs and all the pubs. As final pub before we moved down to the 1904 under the North Bridge, under North Bridge viaduct, was the Prospect, and we went in there several times, into Prospect, back to the Friendly, and then back into Prospect again. And then when Prospect turned around and told us they were shutting down, this was again halfway through a season. So, and I don't know how it came about, but the landlord of the 1904 played Masters with us, and when we said, oh, we're having to move, he said, we're coming down to my pub. We didn't know much about 1904. We went down there, and I think for about 4 seasons as a Masters and open age side, that was most successful era of Boothtown Rugby League, where we won quite a few trophies and changed divisions, moved up divisions. The Masters were growing stronger. So I think the 3 or 4 seasons, maybe 5 seasons we spent down there was the best times of Boothtown Terriers.
But you've won a few things in your time.
Yeah. So we've always been involved in the Handicap Cup, and we've won that a couple of times. We've come runners up several times. When we was the army team and the Halifax Terriers, we played in the workshops. We'd come runners up in them several times. As big as achievement, obviously, was when we won the Pennine Cup and the Halifax Cup, or should I say the league, second division league cup, and also the Pennine Cup, which was now the Halifax Cup, I think now. So, but that was big as achievement. I think that were like 2014, 2015, 2016 in the mirrors there. Very, very, very happy times.
Which is about the same time your lads played here as well alongside you.
Yeah, that were. I played for the open age Boothtown right up until my 51st birthday, when I had a nasty break on my ankle, which actually stopped me from playing. And my 2 lads played alongside me, yeah, which were a very special moment. I mean, having a couple of seasons playing with my own lads in my own team, in the team I'd set up all those decades ago, were very special.
And we're sat here in the sin bin. When did this come about? How did it come about?
Well, the sin bin came back about 3 years ago when we decided that, probably even longer than that, when we were still playing at the Prospect pub, and then when we were playing down at the 1904, we still used to shower and change down at the leisure centre, and we decided that we need some kind of permanent fixture up on the ground, some kind where we can change and shower and then lock up and then move. So we bought a 40-foot porter cabin and did it all out inside with 2 sets of changing rooms, a shower block, little small shower block, and we proceeded to play on his own ground with his own changing facilities for a couple of seasons. Money we used to get were small grants. We used to get small grants here and there. We weren't a very big club, so we didn't have the expenditure of juniors. We just had the open age side. So it was very hard to get money. So most of it were all like fundraising, small grants, and we expanded on the 40-foot and added another cabin to the side of it, where that could become an away changing rooms to make more room, basically. And for several seasons, that's what we stuck by. And then coming to what we are in now, which is a sin bin, which is got its own bar, got its own food facilities. It's all self-contained on the ground, with changing rooms, a couple of changing rooms, and it's the way we've got there is just again by just scrimping and saving and getting small grants and lads mucking in, people who we knew who had businesses coming in and helping us reconstruct and build with the inside, paint it all, redecorate it, and that's where we are today.